What's up, everybody? Thralls here once again. I'm Necrotic.
I'm Jammin.
And we have yet another album review for you, and one that we were pretty excited because we've pretty much been going over this band since their start. We are going over the latest offering from Tribal Gaze, Inveighing Brilliance. This also comes out on the 17th of October on Nuclear Blast Records. They graduated up from Maggot Stomp Records, which, I mean, it's Maggot Stomp, they signed killer bands, and then someone else with a bigger label comes in and hey, I'll fucking take that.
Yep, sadly, all of Maggot Stomp's bands seem to get poached by bigger labels. I don't know why that is. But
testament to the quality of bands that Maggot Stomp signed. This band formed in Texas in 2020, COVID AD. This is their second full-length overall. We both got into them with their debut EP, Godless Voyage, an absolute sick blend of just savage grooves and nasty riffs. We reviewed their debut album, The Nine Choirs, which was essentially the same thing as the EP.
Pretty much.
Bigger, bolder, fucking beefier, heavier than hell. And yeah, this is some chuggy, groove-laden, I'd say like hardcore-infused death metal.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add to that, actually. I mean, we both came from the same place. I've jammed the Godless Voyage, I don't know, probably 1,000 times, I would guess. I could probably listen to that record every day for the rest of my life and not be upset. That's how much I love the Godless Voyage. So naturally, I was really, really excited to get a hold of this record. In fact, we got a promo copy of it. I've had it for a couple weeks now. So naturally, because of that, I've been eagerly awaiting to go over this album. This is still the brutal beatdown that Tribal Gaze is. They did not abandon that sound whatsoever. Like, these guys are still very much to the point about big chuggy riffs and about big nasty breakdowns. And I mean, it's still Tribal Gaze in that aspect. It's definitely got more intensive drum work. I will say that for sure. Like, not that the drummer wasn't playing his balls up before, but I mean, there are moments in here that are notably more blasty. Like, I probably wrote blasty 10, 15 times in here. It's faster, it's cleaner, like the turnovers are cleaner, a lot more going on as far as transitions, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, there's definitely some more technical playing here. Like, I've compared this band to Suffocation, but generally when I talk about like Suffocation, it's they're slower, more just like, all right, we're going to sink it in this nasty breakdown. And, you know, the riffs aren't going to be as technical, but my God, are they going to be heavy?
Yeah.
That's the kind of the Suffocation aspect that I got. But here, again, like some blastier nods every now and then. Empty the Nest has like some like more technical flurries that happen between the really fun two-step syncopation that's on that song. That song is just like a lot of fun rhythmically because you have like this guitar riff that kind of plays a little bit off the beat, or it kind of creates its own little weird syncopation behind like kind of just a straightforward two-step. You get some fun dive bombs here and there, some nasty, very old-school grooves. The transitions in that song are pretty damn fun. Same thing in Draped in Piercing Radiance. That one has, again, like a lot of fun riff changes. That one kind of goes through like almost the entire riff stockpile in terms of styles. Between that one and the last track, Lord of Blasphemy, you get like more tremolos, some cool squealy accents, because a lot of this is just fucking chug. Like, it is chug-centric as hell. It's so chuggy that I would almost say that you could count the guitars as a percussive instrument in here.
Yeah.
Because they just hit. But the songs that I gravitated more towards on here were not just chug. Like, I mean, every song in here has got chug. Well, all right, pretty much every song. A lot of it kind of like lays in that same style that you hear from bands like Creeping Death, Sanguisugabog, Frozen Soul for damn sure, 200 Stab Wounds, and I'll even throw in some Mortician, too. It's about the beef, the heft, the outright kind of like caveman aggression. Like, that's what this band still does really well in here. But hearing some more like nuanced stuff, like, you know, a couple of thrashy machine gun riffs here and there, or some harmonized tremolos, which, well, this band definitely has two guitarists, like I double checked. There's not a lot of like riff harmony in here. Like, you generally get like one guitar that'll drop out to do, you know, a quick, short, very appropriately atmospheric lead for this style of music. It's generally like a lot of dive bombs. It sounds creepy and haunting.
Reminds me if Kerry King was a more atmospheric lead player. kind of got that shreddy vibe to it, but it's also got a little bit of dissonance to it and a little bit of atmosphere.
Draped in piercing gradients, even has like some fun vocal flips in there. Like a lot of this is just like deep death metal vocals, and dude's got a great voice. He's well enunciated. He sounds a lot like Chad Green
100%
from Frozen Soul. He enunciates really well, but he's got like a little bit more of like a brutal edge on like the deeper vocals. But he comes out with like some hardcore shouts on there too, and you know, switching up the vocals that drastically kind of gives the song like a different sort of vibe. And there's like some really fun old school nods in here. Guarding the Illusion in particular. I love the back half of that song in particular because it just gets down into this like filthy old school like obituary groove. I'm always down for that. I've been down for that since the fucking 90s. So yeah, there's a lot of like good stuff in here, but there's definitely some issues here. Like the first thing that kind of I noticed, and well, he definitely noticed probably long before me because he's jammed it more.
Yeah.
Production.
It is surprisingly very compressed and it sounds very polished. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still heavy, but it's missing the grit and it's missing the heft of something very heavy. You can have hefty riffs, but if it's not mixed right, it doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah, I noticed that right from the opening track, Smiling from Their Chariots, which, I mean, it's a beast of a song.
Yeah.
Like, big turnovers to start out, you know, big hefty two-steps, and like it's that syncopated, bouncy kind of stuff. But the mix, it kind of takes something away from it. It's like a little too crisp for this style. Like, you know, the caveman ooga booga energy feels like it's just been, you know, kind of restrained a bit. And for me, like a lot of that comes from the guitars. The guitars, while they're definitely still heavy, they feel less dirty. Like they're a little too clean and they're a little too squeezed. Like I feel like the best way to compare this is like they tried to like force a fucking like pterodactyl size fucking, you know, tone inside of a parakeet cage. And it's just, it feels like it's trying to kind of like escape in there. There's just like, you know, not enough sizzle, not enough grit on it. And I also had issues with like the bass kind of like disappearing. Like it's definitely present there, but there's only like a few points in here where I can really hear it being played. Drums sound pretty good, like pretty crisp. You know, I kind of like the more booming sound of the drums on the last album a little bit more, but they still sound good. But the other issue is, man, this one kind of goes to the chug well a little too often.
It does, and it doesn't kind of ever really leave there. Like, even in songs where there are a bit more dynamics, like Beyond Recognition, that song does a bunch of stuff. There's two steps, there's downright brutal parts, there's some faster blasty parts, there's even an almost thrashy part, and like it's cool, but it doesn't really go anywhere, and a lot of these riffs don't really go anywhere. A lot of it is just really straightforward chugging, like either open E string or like just simple, you know, basic riffs, like the 1, 2, 3 on the fretboard. Not a lot going on. Lord of Blasphemy had a moment where there were some cool tremolos going on, a little bit more of like an evil atmosphere happening, but like overall, a majority of the riffs were kind of boring.
I mean, all right, even early on, you could argue that this band kind of like leaned on like the strength of their guitar tone to kind of just like lay that foundation. And well, they should have. Like, their guitar tone's ridiculously heavy. But with this cleaner production, one of the things that kind of comes out here is, you know, clarity. And you can kind of hear that there's not a lot of like, you know, cleverness or variety in a lot of the riffs. Like, you know, where there could be, they kind of just double down on the chug thing. You know, chugs are awesome. I'm a huge fan of chugs.
I love them.
Chugs are great, but for me, like, I need like a little bit more in the way of variety here because a lot of this became, you know, just repetitive syncopation. The last two tracks in particular really stood out to me because they kind of like, you know, got a little bit more creative. Riff harmonies could have been good too. And I'm not talking about using like some soaring Iron Maiden shit, but harmonizing some of these riffs to kind of give them like a little bit more like of a sinister edge. That could have helped too. There's also a run of songs in here where every song is under 2 minutes. Ruling in a Land with No God, the Irreversible Sequence, and the title track all are about, I don't know, like a minute 50, minute 45.
The title track's a minute 30, and the title track's not even a track, which is odd. I mean, it is.
I mean, it's a track.
It's a track, but it sounds more of like an improv jazz thing. Like, Candiria used to do this shit all the time where it was just, drum hits and like far off in the distance blast beats and weird noises and shit. And that's what Inveighing Brilliance is, and I thought, how bizarre for the title track of the record to be the shortest track. You think about the title track of most records being the centerpiece of the album because, well, it's the title track. And although it's a song, it's more of like a stream of consciousness in like a seedy jazz bar than it is like a beatdown that this band is known for.
I mean, you still have like the heavily distorted guitars and like it sounds squealy and just dark, but I don't know, like it just feels off. I mean, good chance to showcase the drum work in here, which the drum work in here I think is awesome. And we even got like a little bit of a bonus of that towards the end of Lord of Blasphemy, the hidden track on there, which is, I mean, kind of like a 90s throwback because, man, we have suffered through so many hidden tracks.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's like a whole drum solo in the last, couple of minutes of the album?
The last probably like 2.5 minutes of the album, and it's really good. Reminded me a lot of like Derek Roddy, Terry Bozzio, Blake Richardson, stuff like that. Like it's a really well done drum solo. In fact, I might dare to say it's one of my more favorite points of the whole record.
Yeah, it was an interesting little surprise in here. But I mean, all in all, like I don't think this is necessarily a bad album. It's just I don't feel like this is like growth from the last one. Mm-mm. It still has some of its primal appeal, but for me, like I don't know, like I was kind of getting a little bit bored with this just because it got very repetitive, and again, like it kind of just leans on the tone, but it doesn't do very much in the way of the guitars. Like I think the vocals and the rhythm section is solid on here. It's just there's not enough in the way of like standout moments.
Yeah.
Like there's a handful of songs in here that I was like, yeah, that's really cool. Why didn't that happen a little bit more? And then the rest of the time I was like, well, I mean, it's fucking heavy. So overall, I'm going to give this 3 stars. It's not like the most, like secure 3 stars, but I didn't feel as though this was like a 2.5 effort. And, some of my issues do kind of come down the production here. Like, I don't think the production really lends itself to, like, this style in particular. You need grit. You need filth. That's the stuff that kind of makes this style of death metal sound, like, as gross as it's supposed to. And you can still do that and be very well mixed. Our last album was a really solid example of that. But, yeah, like, when it's not the production in here, I do feel like there are just some songs in here that are just flat or maybe, like, incomplete. Like some of them might have needed like a little bit more work, but mainly this needs like just a little bit more in the way of like riff variety. Like again, I love CHUGS. I love heavy, ridiculous shit. This album 100% drags nuts. It's just, it got a little kind of samey overall and it kind of started to lose me. When they started showing up with like more like dynamic riffs and such, that's when I really got into it. And I like that. Like, you can still be primal as hell and still throw in some killer riff changes or even, like, harmonize some riffs to give them, like, a little bit more body. Still, though, if you're a big fan of, Sanguisugabog, Frozen Soul, Creeping Death, 200 Stab Wounds, that type of shit, check this out. It's still heavier than fuck.
There's not a whole lot more I can say that hasn't already been said. I'm also at 3 stars. I mean, it's still heavy. I still like Tribal Gaze because it's still just pretty much an ooga booga beatdown. But in this case, I will agree that a lot of it sounded kind of the same. And even in the transitions that they had from song to song, like it followed kind of the same pattern through most songs. Well, I will say that the drum work has improved immensely. Like that guy's flying. He's doing a lot of shit I didn't know he could do as a drummer because the music didn't necessarily allude to that in times past. But these songs have definitely allowed him to write in some more, fun drum playing, which I think is a really cool thing, including a really nasty drum solo at the end. I'm very impressed by that. That was really cool. But like overall, like it was good, but it's missing the brutal heft that Tribal Gaze has, at least for me, with the first couple records. Again, that EP, man, there's not much heavier in the world than that EP, at least in my opinion. It's still got its groovy moments. I didn't really think that the mix of this record alluded to how heavy this band can be, and it's possible that this is going to be a whole hell of a lot heavier live than it was on the record. I don't know what's going on there, but it seemed a little bit too compressed and even a little bit thin at times. I don't want to say that these songs are necessarily incomplete, but I guess what I will say is that sometimes they seemed like they kind of lacked direction. Like they were throwing a whole lot into all these songs, but they weren't real sure where they were going with it. I don't know. Still, overall, it wasn't a bad listen. It's just not my favorite listen by Tribal Gaze. So 3 stars for me. If you're into any of the bands that we've mentioned, you're probably really going to dig this. And if you've been a Tribal Gaze fan from the beginning, definitely check this out.
So, if you enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to the channel, subscribe, because we do stuff like this all the time. We also have memberships. They're only 99 cents, and our lone perk is doing a members-only live stream, which we will eventually get down to.
We will.
Probably sometime around, I don't know, Halloween. I don't know. This entire month is spooky season. We can do whatever. We even bought some new props.
We did buy some new props. You'll see them eventually.
Some of you might have already seen one of them. Either way, memberships are the main way to support the channel. And if you would like to join up here, there is a join button down there for you to press with all your fury and power. Smite it! I dare you. Also know full well that if you break whatever you are smiting, we are not liable for that.
Not responsible, not at all. Way. We're not really responsible to begin with, let's be honest here. But even if you choose not to lay your mighty hand upon the join button and smite it with all your might, that's fine too, because we do a whole bunch of non-members only things like live streams, discography rankings, album reviews, tons of discussion forums, Nick's never-ending collection updates, and really anything we can fucking think of and put on video, at least that's metal related. I don't think you want everything we could think of to put on video, because no one wants that. I guarantee it. Especially not from Shredlord. Anyway, we do all these things here at Thralls of Metal for you guys, because we appreciate you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing to support us and continuing to watch our videos. It means the world to us. It baffles me that this channel continues to grow, but it does because of you guys, so thank you.
Yeah, you guys absolutely roll. Tons of content coming your way. So one more big thank you because of all your rulage, and we will catch you later.